Hello and welcome everybody to our AX Semantics webinar this week. This time I will tell you a few things about a new kind of text or new variant of text you can produce with AX Semantics, the FAQs. I am Peter Schmitt. I am Customer Success Agent at AX Semantics, and I will guide you through this webinar today. So let's go. What are FAQs? FAQs is short for frequently asked questions. These are questions that are typical for your users to ask from your support or from your website in general. This is how a usual FAQ question and its answer look. So this is actually one of the questions we have on our website. What is natural language generation, NLG? And you find an answer which is a small paragraph here with further reading, but it quickly answers the first, the first interest of the reader, like what is NLG? What can FAQs do for you? Three main things. First, you can add SEO relevant content with them. Because FAQs usually are pretty relevant to the products you sell or the services you provide. Content that is in FAQs is usually very relevant, and Google recognizes, or other search engines, of course, too, recognize this relevance to the thing you do. And when you fill a website with a lot of relevant information about your topic, you can get a higher site trust through these search engines, and through this site trust you can reach a higher visibility in search results. Another very helpful things FAQs can do for you is help your customer service. There are certain questions that your customer service has to answer all the time, like how can I return a product? How can I pay for the services you provide? How many items can I order of something? What quality does this have? And so on and so on. These questions take a lot of time for your customer support to answer. Or if the question is not answered at all, you can receive a lot of returns of products because the customer thought something differently. And with FAQs, you can prevent this by answering the question right on the side of either the product or in a general FAQ page. We will come to that later too. This can result in reduced time that your support has to put into these questions. It can reduce the return rate, and it can, in general, heighten your trust and your trust by your customers, which can actually save a lot of money and time, and can further your relationship with your customers. The third thing, I already mentioned it, is increase customer trust. By appearing open and communicative about your products or the services you provide, your customer sees you as a relevant source of information, and by that associates you in their heads with good service, even in the future. And so these FAQs and the good information they provide, the relevant information they provide, helps you build a rapport with your customer. In general, there are two kinds of FAQs that you could put on a website. Though the first one are FAQ about your specific product. As said, these questions are about your product. I will show a few examples in a few seconds. And usually these questions and the answers also can be built out of the data. If you know our product, like AX Semantics product already, you know we are all about creating text from data. So the product FAQ are really good to do with us, or easy to do with us, because we can read the data for products, we can evaluate the data and show good answers. We will revisit that in a while. The other kind of questions are questions that are about the shop in general. Things that are not only relevant for one product, but are relevant to your whole site, to your whole operation. I'll give a few examples. So questions that are often asked about the products are the pros and cons of used materials, for example, like if you're buying a bag, what is the advantage of buying a bag out of leather versus a bag out of plastic, for example? What colors do you have available? Cleaning instructions for specific materials also. That's some very common, frequently asked questions that we have seen. For shops, as said, there are questions that are valid for the whole shop, like how does this product get to me as a customer? How can I pay there? Are there any vouchers that I can use? Can I find any coupons or something? How can I return a product if it's not what I need or if it's damaged? What are warranty conditions for your shop? That kind of stuff. Everything that the customer might ask you that is independent from the product. Now, where do we place these FAQs? Of course, the product-specific FAQ you should place on the product detail page and very close to the product, because there is a very strong association between these questions and the product, of course, because the answers are derived of the product's data. There are a few options where you can put the product-independent questions, of course. So usually you will place them on an FAQ site in the shop that is not dependent on a product. That's probably what you all do already. You have an FAQ section on your website where you answer these questions. But imagine you need a bit more relevant content and SEO relevant content for your products. You can also put answers to general questions about your shop into the FAQ for your products. You should do that sparingly, and the content should be so variant that not every product has exactly the same wording for each question. So use our variance tools, for example, in AX Semantics if you do it with us. But with using the general questions in product detail pages, for example, you can fill empty space. If you have too little to say about the products out of the data themselves, you can fill it up with FAQs. This can also be an option if you don't have any product descriptions yet. So you can start with creating FAQs on the product pages and replace these common questions with specific stuff over time. With that, you can have, again, a lot of content quickly and replace it with more relevant, with better content over time. But you can beat time and the amount at the same time with this. Now, how do we add FAQs to a shop with the help of AX Semantics? I want to talk about that too, of course. There are 3 steps. You have to prepare the questions and the answers. You have to build, of course, the text project with us and with data beforehand. And then you can produce the content and use it either on your website or in rich snippets. Let's start with the preparation of the questions themselves. How do you find your questions that you should put on your websites? Again, there are 3 more or less reasons why you can have FAQs on your website, and each have their own way of finding questions for them. So the first that I already mentioned are for SEO effects. You need to conduct a keyword analysis. You need to know what your customers or your to-be customers are looking for. Based on this analysis, you can create questions and answer them, and pretty much create content for the search engine to find, crawl, and display to your future customer. The second kind of question, I already mentioned them, are questions that actually are frequently asked from your product support, your salespeople, whoever is in contact with your customers. Talk to them and ask about the questions your customers actually have. Ask them how much time they spend on these questions and answering them, and how often each question appears in a certain amount of time, so that you can actually remove their workload and free them up to do the more rare things. Also, what questions should you pose, or what questions should you answer to reduce problems of the customers with your product? What kind of things lead to returns often? maybe add a question exactly on that topic to your FAQ section for a product. The third thing you can put into Q&A, which is not really a Q&A thing, like a question answer system, but of course you can also write your product descriptions in a question and answer format. So imagine you have a product description about, let's say, a smartphone. You know that example from us already, I think. So what you can do is you can write a whole paragraph of giving information and presenting the product, but you can also use a question and answer format to convey the same information, like how much memory does this smartphone have, and answer it with the size of the memory. Or a bit more sophisticated, you can put the evaluations of data into the headlines, like, can I store movies on this smartphone? And the answer should be yes, with a memory size of blah, 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 you can store a lot of movies and other multimedia data, for example. A few examples also for these three types. So for SEO effects, a good question that we actually found is, how can I get a discount with Zalando? So this was a question that was actually answered by a colleague of me who wrote an FAQ for a voucher distributor. And this is an actual question that they want to be found for. Yeah, type into Google, how can I get a discount with Zalando? And you will find a voucher that is coming from a customer who did this. A classic question for FAQs from support or from actual frequently asked question is, how can I return this product? A lot of people come to support chat, how can I return stuff? How can I cancel services? That kind of stuff. The third part, as I already mentioned, what are the advantages of material X in the product, or giving the advantages and then telling in the answer to your customer what enables this product to have this advantage. Then, of course, to find the right answers for your questions, you have to talk to your domain experts. What is a domain expert? It's a person who knows a person in your organization who knows the answers to these FAQs, like support people, product engineers, sometimes salespeople, if it's a sales-related question, pretty much the people who actually know things. These are the people who should answer your questions. After you ask them, you have to condense their answers to get answers that are concise. If you do a FAQ format or a Q&A format for your product descriptions, the answers cannot be too long, like 1 or 2 paragraphs, like I showed you in the beginning with our answer to what is NLG. And to make the answers relevant to the product or relevant to the things that you're writing, of course, you can use data values that you get from the data sets that you provide for your products. And you see already the image of our software in there. That's where we come into play. Of course, you can prepare answers and fill them with life with our machine. Which brings us to the next step, build an FAQ in AX Semantics, how to do that. So pretty much you create a project, you enter the questions and the answers, you format them how you like, and you create rules and triggers. That's not too different from other content creation products that you can do in our system. And technically, so in the way of the techniques used, aren't difficult. In fact, usually it's just a headline and a paragraph in our system. The headline is the question, the paragraphs are the answers. Our machine can create this format pretty easily. You can use the statement and the branching mechanics that you already know from our tool. And the only thing you have to maybe change is that you have a lot of headlines in your story, and all the answers are inside one paragraph. So if you've already used our system, there's pretty much nothing new to learn technology-wise. A small example. So I have created an FAQ project with 2 Qs and 2 As in our tool. You know this surface, it's our right section. And you see statement 1 here is a question. Does the Samsung Galaxy A50 have a 3.5mm jack connector, like a headphone jack? And I have prepared 3 answers. First, I have an answer that is positive. Yes, the Samsung Galaxy A50 has a 3.5mm jack connector and supports your favorite headphones. I found in the data an answer that said yes, but only with an adapter. So I created an answer with the adapter. The Samsung Galaxy A50 supports the 3.5mm jack audio connector via an adapter. I emphasize that so it's clear. So you can use your favorite headphone. And the third answer, of course, if it's not possible, no, the Samsung Galaxy A50 does not support the A50 audio jack, the 3.5mm audio jack. So I prepared every possible answer, and in the transform part, I just checked which one the specific phone has, and now I can create a really relevant answer for every specific phone that I have in my shop. Same thing for the next question. Can I fast charge my Samsung Galaxy A50? Yes, the Samsung Galaxy A50 is capable of fast charging, so it can always be ready. I have another variant for the same answer. You can always be on the move with your Samsung Galaxy A50 as fast charging is supported. And I have a negative answer. No, the Samsung Galaxy A50 doesn't support fast charging yet, which you can give if a smartphone, yeah, as it says, doesn't have smart charging. How does that look in the output? So this is a usual format that would appear. I have the headline with the question. I have a paragraph with the answer. Of course, the answers can be a bit longer, like one line headline, 1 line answer is a bit short on the shorter end, but you get the idea how it looks. It's not anything fancy in our tool. It's just a new style of presenting your questions and the answers. And you see the iPhone, of course, can do it with an adapter. The Galaxy A50 can do it directly, and the third phone can also do it directly. And that way, you can present the correct answer to questions your customers have. And this content then you put on your website, your product detail page, wherever it fits. Combining this new content style, Q&A form, and our data evaluation engine and our included variants methods, this will give you good content and relevant content that you can put on your websites. Yeah, you know, you can format it well so that it's very nicely readable. These short paragraphs are very well readable. And you don't have to use one single FAQ pair or a question and answer pair to put in your website 10,000 times, but you can really make it specific for the stuff you're talking about. And with the formatting options you have in our tool, for example, you can even include links to further reading, be it either for a specific concept that you convey in that question, like what is a 3.5mm audio jack? I mean, everybody knows that, but it can be, of course, more sophisticated. And with that, you can even build an internal link structure on your website, which also helps boosting confidence and your relevance. The last part that you, of course, have to do once you have created the FAQs in your in our tool, you have to produce the content. You can produce content, as I said, for every single product. You can create it in a high number. You can have the FAQs produced very quickly after you introduce a new product. You can create it. You can create relevant FAQs. Yeah, again, don't reuse a lot of stuff. By that, reduce duplicate content. And you know, our tool is creating text content, so we cannot create the rich snippet formatting that Google uses yet, maybe. But as we give HTML as an output, for example, you actually could transform the headlines of the questions and the paragraphs of the answers to the format that Google expects for its rich snippets that it can parse and display. There are also import plugins in shop systems, for example, for that. That's not something we provide. We only provide formatted text, but of course you can use the formatted text in other tools once it's created. Now that we are talking about the production, I want to give you a bit of proof of what this can do. So, for example, customers of ours, WebGears GmbH, kindly provided us with a bit of research on creating FAQs automatically with our system. And they made a duplicate content check, for example, in their FAQ text. These are both written with another automation system, not with AX Semantics, and they had a really bad similarity between the texts or between the FAQs of their separate products. And the similarity was measured between 57 and 59%, which is really not that good. And after they created a text project with FAQs with AX Semantics, they could reduce that to a similarity of 14 to 24%, which is a heavy reduction by over 50% reduced duplicate or reduced duplicality. And you see the result, how different they are. And these results are not selected, like I didn't select the two most dissimilar texts here. These are actually across the whole stock that they produced. Another thing the same customer could do, they are putting their FAQs and their content on several platforms. You see in the screenshot, these are actual examples that they provided. They put it on their own on their own platform. They put it on Welt, and they put it on voucher programs of Bild. And you see at even the optical difference between these three things, between the outputs for these three channels is immense. And these texts all describe the same thing. They come from the same data source, but you see they have vastly different ways to produce their output, which of course reduces duplicate content. And they can put even a significantly unique style into each channel. Okay, I hope this helped a bit to understand how you can FAQs with AX Semantics and why you should. Okay, so no questions so far. Seems that I could cover everything, which is good. Then the only thing I can say, thank you for watching me. Thank you for your interest. If you have any more questions even later, feel free to contact your customer success agent and of course our support chat. And I hope we can see you again for our next webinar, and have a great day. Bye-bye.